Grazie, tu?
Sì, bene.
Sono stanca. So today we are talking about social media. I guess to start out, we all know that social media is quite harmful if not used as a tool for, well-being and instead is used as like a tool to be worried about everything else.
To compare yourself.
Exactly. Comparisons are so harmful, and I think we know that. And I think no one doubts that social media can be harmful. So today we wanted to talk more so about tools and tricks to like make social media work for you and make it have a more healthy relationship with it in your own lives. So I did have some ideas to start because I know personally I've seen ways that it hurts, and then I've found ways to help make those effects less severe. So one of the things is like we have a lot of acquaintances on our social medias, right? Like people you know well enough to want to know what's going on with their life, but not well enough to have a daily conversation with them. So it's really approval. Trying to get approval of, strangers or close acquaintances, especially with like the whole likes. That's such a thing. There's like a feeling about the numbers, right? Which is why I love the feature that Instagram brought out of hide like count.
Yes.
Right?
You can't see how many people like other people's posts.
Exactly. Unless you choose to make it available.
Yes. You can see how many like yours.
Yes. But it's also, even when you're in your own profile, it's not the first number you see.
Yes.
You see instead the post, the comments, and but you have to actively seek out the like count, which I think is
in order
so
to see
important.
it. Exactly.
Because I know ever since that feature came out, I've been much more open and free about what I post, because I'm like, oh, I don't have to make it look aesthetic to other people. I want to make it to represent myself, because our profiles are, a snapshot of the best sides of ourselves, and so I want to be able to do that without having to feel pressured, right?
Yeah, of course.
So do you think that the social media can cover the real life?
Cover it, as in like hide
yeah.
what's real about it? Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Because you're not gonna post when you wake up looking gross, and unless there's a certain reason, if you're like, oh hey, just woke up, But you really are trying to present your best self, especially because you're like, this is what people who haven't seen me in years will see.
Right.
So.
My mom always says you post your best moments, and so
Yes.
when you think about it, like if you only see someone's highlights, like let's say you watch a movie trailer and the trailer gives you the highlights and you say, wow, that looks like a really interesting movie, then you sit through the entire 2 hours and you're like, that was so boring.
Yeah.
There was nothing there.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same thing with Instagram. Instagram is like the trailer for your life and it gives the highlights.
Exactly.
But when you really look at what people are actually doing, it's not much.
Yeah, and I know like also when I go on trips and then I end up posting a picture, they're like, how was your trip? And I was like, I got a cute picture, but some of it was a little stressful.
Yeah.
Some of it wasn't my favorite. But
exactly. I went to Florence this weekend and Tuscany, and the trip was phenomenal. I loved Florence. I loved Tuscany. It was beautiful. And I got lots of great pictures, and I did have fun. And when I posted the pictures, everyone was like, oh, that must have been amazing. And it was amazing. However, there were definitely downsides.
Yes.
There was a train strike. 2 of our trains got canceled.
Yeah.
We ended up having to buy 3 new train tickets, a car back from the Naples train station, since trains weren't running when we got home because it was so late. We were supposed to get home at 5 p.m. We got home at 1:30 a.m. and I got so car sick on the way home that I yacked in a bush. So you don't see that on Instagram.
Yeah, and you're not, unless you're like sharing the like cutesy little, here's the hell weekend I had.
Exactly.
You're not gonna share a picture of you yakking in the bush.
And even then, if you do share it, it's to be amusing. It's not to say like, this actually sucked.
Yeah. Please.
Oh, it was so bad.
Exactly. So I think being real, even being real on social media is still putting out an image.
Yes.
And if you say it's not, then it's so false.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Like, even if you share the bad things that happen,
It's
putting on this persona of, these bad things happen, but I can laugh about it. And meanwhile, like, I was puking in the bush and crying my eyes out.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, oh, sorry, did you have something?
No. I have a question, but we are studying, the futuristi.
Sì.
So
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think snail mail. You know, you used to only be able to communicate by snail mail, and so making plans, hearing about people's lives, like keeping up and keeping in touch was so difficult. And now it's almost too easy. It's like there's this expectation that you have to be connected 24/7, and so it's kind of like the double-edged sword of technology that everyone can see and acknowledge, and no one really doubts that like technology has made the world better. But then you wonder like, when it starts reaching into the AI and the tracking and the severe like connection 24/7, then that's when you start to question how much is too much technology.
I do definitely think there are some strict positives though, and obviously everything has a negative side, but like the idea that you can communicate with anyone from across the world. I have a friend in England actually who I've never met in person because I've never been to England, except for my layover on the way here. But
it's beautiful.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I really want to. We've never met in person, but we've been friends for years. We FaceTime, we text, we connected on Instagram. And I'm actually going to meet her when I go to London later this month. So I think that's really cool. I think the idea that we're here and like I can just FaceTime my mom at home. Like she was telling me how she went to Italy when she was younger, and she went with her parents. So her parents were there, but she couldn't contact anyone else from home. And if she wanted to, she had to use like a payphone and pay like international fees.
Yeah.
Right. Which
Versus now you can be like, download WhatsApp and it's free and I'll call you at any time. And like,
I also think with like the pandemic, social media has had a positive side.
Yes.
Yes, because if we didn't have Zoom, we couldn't have continued class. And don't get me wrong, we hated Zoom class. I did not enjoy Zoom class. However,
at least you're still
continuing your education. Right, you can continue and you don't have to take a complete pause. You could work remotely. I'm still working remotely actually. I'm blogging during this trip for my school. So like it's nice because like I'm not working here obviously, but I still get paid to do that, and I wouldn't be able to do that without social media. So I think that's nice.
So do you think that is a positive or negative, the social media?
Positive. If we were to net all of the aspects, it's positive, especially with the fact that, you know, you can really make it what you want. Like that's the other thing, is that the biggest thing is like when you find that you're not really loving a certain aspect of it, you can block that out. So like if there's someone you follow who tends to be negative, or you know, you can either unfollow them or you can mute their posts and their stories, and you can make it, social media really, like you can curate it to be what you need it to be. And so if you net all of that together, then it's net positive gains. So.
I think you also have to like learn how to, like you were saying, like make it the best experience for you. Like I know like obviously unfollowing someone is as easy as pressing a button. You don't have to learn how to press a button. However, you do have to learn to be okay with pressing that button. Like it took me forever to realize I don't like this person makes me feel bad about myself, this person makes me feel bad about life in general, like, and then I'd go to hit unfollow and I'd be like, oh, but I want to know what she's doing. So I think it took me a while to be able to hit that unfollow button and say, no, I don't need that in my life. Like, at school we call it the misery Olympics. You're competing so badly with people that not only are you competing for their good things, but they're bad things too.
Like unhappy.
Right, like if someone says, oh, I'm taking 6 classes this semester and I have 12 clubs and I never have time to sleep, you're like, oh, well, I'm taking 7 and I have 12 clubs.
And I'm shameless about being like, I got a full 8 hours last night.
Exactly, like I would much rather sleep than compete for misery, or much rather enjoy my time. And that took me a while to learn too, because it really, even though it's bad things, you want to match them. Like you want to say,
you want to be doing more, and you want to be, no matter what that more is. No, but to speak to that is like, the other thing I have is like, sometimes there's people from my past who I don't want to unfollow because of, you know, people notice that stuff. Whether or not you like to, they notice that you didn't no longer in touch with them. And that's why the mute is so amazing, because some people's stuff, I'm like, I love you as a person, or I enjoy you as a person, but I don't want to see your daily stories or daily reposts, or I don't want to see the thing that makes me feel like I have to compare myself. So I can still follow you and like keep up with you without seeing it daily. And it's kind of like, then when you think of the person, you have to seek them out instead of it being like an
Yes.
interruption into your day. Like if you're just scrolling happily and someone's like, oh, this is my life, you should be jealous and sad and blah blah blah. Like
Right.
you can actually take that out of being like an unexpected thing, and you can kind of prepare yourself then instead.
I feel like that's a good idea for like like I'm here and I shamelessly post every day because I'm
Precisely.
having the time of my life, but some people probably don't want to see
Exactly.
everything I do in
Which
Italy.
is-
So if they just mute me, I would not be offended at all.
You know, once I realized that was a thing, I stopped being as self-conscious because I was like, okay, if I am happy to mute other people who post way too often
I'm sure
and
they're
things I
happy
don't
to
see,
mute me.
then they can either unfollow or mute me, and there's no harm done. And that's also helped me with the perspective of, I used to be like, oh, why are they posting that? They shouldn't post that. And then I was like, no, because everyone uses social media differently. And you have the option to take them out of your social media presence. Like you can choose to not pay attention to what they're posting. And that's entirely up to you, and you shouldn't judge other people based on how they use it. You just have to make sure that if you don't like it, you take it out. You know?
Yes.
But are you afraid that you can share a lot of personal information
Yes.
to the other who don't know?
You know, yes and no. Like I feel like I've become more open with most aspects of my life. Obviously, you know, I'm not gonna be sharing my mother's maiden name and my social security, but like I realize that it's a lot more stressful to have secrets about yourself than it is to just be like, I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with this, and I am perfectly fine admitting that. Because also, the older you get, you realize everyone is, or at least a very large chunk of people, because when I have been very like vulnerable, I have people responding that are like people I would never talk to, or people I never realized would say something about it. And you're like, wow, that's like really amazing to be able to kind of match someone else's like vulnerability. So
I think in that aspect, the ability to share personal information is so good because, like you said, like I've had people reach out to me that I never would have really interacted with if they hadn't said something or I hadn't said something.
exactly.
Or I've reached out to other people in the same way. I do think though social media shares a lot more than we think it does. Like I didn't realize for a while that my phone number was connected to my Instagram profile, and it was my freshman year in college, and I was living in the like freshman dorms, so like obviously there's a lot of people I don't know there, and I kept getting these calls that said they were like from Norway, and I would pick up the phone, and this guy would just be heavy breathing, and then he'd say, Meg, I have something to tell you, and I was like, first of all, who are you? Second of all, how do you know my name? And it ended up being someone in my dorm that found my phone number from my Instagram, like, cause there's like, when you have a business account, there's like a click to call button. And I didn't realize I had set up like click to call, and he was just calling me off Instagram. I was like, that's great. I didn't even know my phone number was on there. Like I knew it was connected with my account, but I didn't know other people could access it.
I just have the private
Yes.
account, so I never knew that was an option. Good to
Yes.
know.
Yeah, you can also now it's my email.
You can
So like,
deactivate the calling thing, right?
so if you have a business account, you have to have some way to contact you.
So it's email instead of.
I put my email instead of my phone, and I put an
Okay.
email that I don't use
So
because I
it's
don't actually want people to
Don't contact, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
The other thing is like you
So-
can be called by random numbers
Oh,
through like
yeah.
messaging, which is like also a good and a bad because strangers can message you, but you can choose to ignore the strangers.
Right.
But the other people who can contact you are the people who you didn't think you would talk to, and then all of a sudden
Yes.
you're like, we're having a nice conversation, and it's great that you could do this without needing me to send you my number and you know coordinate a time. So I love it.
So thank you so much
Yes.
for
Yes.
sharing your
I
opinion
feel like
with us.
this was
Thank
a good
you.
chat. Thank you.
This is the first episode, so we invite
See.
also all the other can
Yes.
like or email
Yes.
us and then
Yeah, email us, but don't call and be weird.
Don't call
But-
me weird.
Instagram message,
But
comments,
you
you know.
forget to introduce yourself.
Oh!
Well, ti dispiace. Mi chiamo Jess.
Mi chiamo Meg.
And
Mi chiamo Domenico. Thank
so
you so
thank
much.
you, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for